What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Madhouse Podcast. This episode, I am joined by my co-host, Connor Graham.
What's up, everybody?
Our special guests, Brendan Christie.
Hi-oh.
And Ian Figueroa.
What's up?
And I'm Ryan Byrne. And this is the 4th episode. Been a month since we started.
Has it really been a month?
It's been a month now.
It's been, Jesus.
Dude, time went by fast.
I've been here for half that.
I really was not expecting it to have been a month already. That's kind of crazy.
4th episode, right?
Yeah.
4th episode.
Time flies by when you are constantly in the same place. Stagnation.
I mean,
Corona.
Just because we're in one spot doesn't mean stuff isn't happening.
Absolutely
but
not.
unfortunately, we can't experience a lot of it.
You guys hear about the Tony Hawk remaster?
I did.
I heard about it, but I haven't heard about anything about it.
So they're remaking the first 2 games, and actually remaking it, not just being yeah, we're putting it out on another console. They're not pulling the Resident Evil 4 approach. So they're redoing it. I don't know if they're going. Well, look, dude, Resident Evil 4 is on every device you can imagine. I could play that on my printer if I wanted
Skyrim's
to.
on the Alexa. It can't really you can't really go there.
Skyrim does have it beat, I think.
Todd Howard is displeased.
But yeah, it's a complete remaster of the first and second game. And if you look at before and after pictures, I think GameSpot actually puts them out.
I saw
It's insane. It's so because it was on really old consoles, view distance wasn't a thing. So it was just oh yeah, this is whatever place. Now it's hey, you can see the environment.
You actually know where you are.
In all honesty, I'm really excited for the remakes because
Tony Hawk skating in Silent Hill.
Yeah, that was what the originals was. Is instead of view distance, it was just all right, you like Silent Hill, we'll just do that.
Yeah.
But now, oh hey, grinding on this rail, and I see something 2 blocks over. Oh, I'm gonna do a sick nasty kick flip over that.
Dude, I'm excited for them. Based on previous, the past couple Tony Hawk games, I think it's going to be bad, but I'm hopeful.
Question though, do you think they're gonna bring back the story of underground skating? Because do you remember the plot of
they have to
plot of that?
I feel like they have to.
I'm sorry, is the plot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater that they've banned skateboarding, so Tony Hawk and his crew need to open up an underground skating ring?
It's actually post-apocalyptic skateboarding.
Yo, that would be honestly pretty
it's
dope.
Fallout with skateboards.
Yeah, Fallout with skateboards, but
it's the Fight Club of skateboarding.
He's dissociating, and it's just he's making all this shit up in his mind. Sorry, spoilers for those who haven't seen Fight Club.
Tony Hawk's in a coma. He wakes up breathing heavily, and they're like, Tony, you've been asleep for 10 years. And he's like, my skateboard?
I can still nollie.
But the plot of it is all right, yeah, I remember you got to make your own skater, and it's you're just some small town kid.
Build-A-Bro.
It is Build-A-Bro.
But
and you and your friends start recording videos those old 2000s handheld camcorders of
classic.
Hey yo, brew. Wow.
Yeah, bro.
Do the sick nasty kickflip over this ravine or some shit, and you
dude,
just
Ollie,
go
my
around.
sister.
And it's basically you just go around and you start building up fame and everything. And I know at some point, once you get enough fame, you get signed to some esports. From
Esports.
Yo, Tony Hawk's in esports.
Yeah, man.
He on X Games.
Yeah, you get some signed to some sort of X Games sports shit.
Yo, what if Tony Hawk owned TSM?
Goodness.
Tony Hawk is the
Wow.
mid laner.
Oh, he definitely would be a talent mid.
Yeah, dude, we're totally
Oh.
gonna lose. Yeah, dude, we're totally gonna lose. No jungle pressure. Whack. The jungler totally biffed it.
Biff.
But besides like Tony Hawk getting announced, you guys hear about Cyberpunk and you get to customize their genitals.
Yo,
Dude,
I'm making the like
I-
smallest micropeen I can, but on like the biggest burliest dude.
I cannot wait to make this absolute Ken doll hunk of a man, and just have him have the weirdest looking corkscrew banana cock.
I wonder how far they go with that. It's just like, say you're creating a female. It's just like, yeah, I want the left labia just a little bit.
Literally,
Like that's what I'm
I've
thinking.
been sitting here thinking about it. What poor fuck did they hire to sit in some like dark, barely lit room
Code that.
and
Oh
sit
my
there and like,
God, the
I want you to
coding.
make 26 different vagina types. I want you to make 36 different cocks. If I can't see a difference between each of them, you're fired. And they
Like-
slide them prison-style meals under the door.
Dude, they just
God.
set up a depth meter for it. And it's just like how deep you want it to be.
Also, like, let's be real. Like, oh my god, the whole like, because apparently aren't there like first person view of like sex
So,
scenes and
First-person
everything?
sex
There's
scenes.
first
Yeah,
person scenes,
exactly.
and
They
that's
have
what
to
got it an
indi-
AO rating.
They have to individually render each like
Schlong.
each
You have to
schlong,
render each curve.
each curve, like each fold. Like it's just like why? How? Well, it's not really how, considering shit that's being developed. Like that shit's wild. But
So, I was talking to my brother about that game, and he was like, yeah, all these people think it's going to be like, you can do anything you want in it. And he was like, yeah, it's just going to be Deus Ex made by them. And I
Pretty
was
much,
like,
yeah.
I sat there for a second, and I was like, holy shit, you're right. It's just Deus Ex.
like as
It's
much as
literally just
yeah,
Deus Ex.
it's very comparable. I've played the Deus Ex games, and I've also done a lot of reading on the actual like tabletop game that Cyberpunk came from. And I'm really hoping that they add a lot of those elements from the tabletop, like rules and everything, and just cool ideas.
I feel
I want
we-
cool mantis blades, and that's about it.
there was the Year of the Bow, Year of Zombies and stuff in games. This is just like Cyberpunk's year. Like, in just media in general, like movies coming out, games, like everything seems to be leaning towards Cyberpunk now.
Vikings.
Which I'm like, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. Sign me up as soon as I can get anything replaced. I'll be test dummy for that.
Let me be the first person to get a cybernetic upgrade. I want laser hands. If I'm not able to shoot nails out of my toes, dude, I don't want it.
Yo, I want cybernetic intestines so I can just like shoot stuff out.
So you can be a fully functioning human again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god, that
Oh,
kind of
man.
just reminds me of that, or at least what comes to mind with stuff like that is, any of you ever seen the movie Upgrade?
I was literally thinking
No.
that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it.
I have not
I
seen
think
that.
I think both of you would enjoy it because it's a movie about sort of
Cybernetic upgrades.
cybernetic
In
upgrades
society.
and I guess sort of the ramifications of stuff like that, like AI.
Basic premise from a dude who's never seen the full movie but has seen like most shit about it.
Mm.
Dude gets like a weird AI thing in his head that's like a cybernetic enhancement, and it basically makes him a super badass who like kills people very easily, and like it's a whole story of like, I'm pretty sure either someone killed his wife or took his wife or something, and he's trying to find out who and get revenge.
Okay.
Am I close, Brendan?
That's pretty damn close, yeah.
Yo, can I
Nice.
interest you in a small movie? You may have never heard of it. It's called Blade Runner. It's kind of similar. Androids and stuff.
I actually haven't heard about it.
Oh, really? It's super small indie movie.
Small indie movie. You probably never heard of it.
Wait, is that where they got the idea for Blade Runner 2049?
Actually, they're completely separate. They just stole the name. It was a whole thing with copyright, and they killed someone over it.
Ah, understandable.
Yeah.
Uh,
They killed someone over it.
I don't know,
Someone
like,
dead
Poor
because of
dude.
it.
I'm all for, like, let's just keep advancing and get to points where I lose my mind over it. And, you know, it's similar to that. Unreal Engine has put out stuff today showing
yeah.
the new one.
God, dude, Unreal Engine, quite literally the biggest ever.
I mean,
Dude, like, I feel like we are getting to a point where, like, how does it get better? Like,
It's legitimately getting to the point where you can't differentiate video games from real life.
and, like, I know people said that, like, back when PS2 came out, like, this is so realistic, it can't get better. But I legitimately think we got to that point where we're just like, I don't know how we get better looking games than what we're looking at.
When I had first looked at the article that you had sent to our group chat and everything like that, showing it, and it had like the little picture that just like, leads up to it. Like, when you're about to click the article, that kind of picture. I thought it was legitimately just a picture someone took from like Egypt or something. I didn't think it was like rendered in the engine. I thought it was a legitimate picture that someone took. And to go into that article and sit there and watch the video and listen to them explain how they did it and everything, it's honestly incredible because we've gotten to the point where Uncanny Valley is everything.
Okay, let me put some backstory for people who haven't seen it. Epic Games put out a article today showing that they have their first playable build of a PS5 game. So they showed it off in their new engine, Unreal Engine 5. And this is footage coming straight from a PS5 dev kit, which blows my mind because I'm looking at it and I'm like, that looks better than my computer, and that makes me mad.
It's entirely unedited too. It's unedited.
Yeah.
footage.
Yeah.
raw footage.
And, like, looking at it, it's like, at one point during this video, they're like, here, let's show you how many polygons there are right here. And it looks like just static on a TV, and it's actually just, like, some of these polygons are so small that it's just, like, you can't tell unless you're up close to it. It's insane.
I'm pretty sure at one point when they were showing off the triangles and everything like that, they talked about how there was over
16 billion.
16 billion different polygons.
Okay, so
I think that was in one of the frames too.
That
like
was
it was
for
just
one model.
when they
yeah.
got to the one room where they had that model in multiple places, they said it was over 100 billion polygons in that one room.
It's
And
ridiculous.
That
I was-
number.
I was literally looking at that, and I thought the entire time it was just the cinematics. Like, oh look, we can like put out better looking cinematics.
Yeah,
But
But
that's all real time.
that is
Render.
the cinematic model that they're
Yeah.
rendering in real time.
Dude,
The part that
It's-
got me the most was probably there's a part in the video which we'll probably link it below or something.
Yeah.
But there's a part in the video where the character walks up to a door, and they've been able to add a whole bunch of different interactions with the environment,
Yeah.
just like procedurally generated interactions. These interactions are not like planned. They're not sitting there waiting to be triggered or anything like that. And the character walks up to a door and puts their hand up like a human being would to like grab the door and like lean in. And that to me was incredible because that's not that was a procedurally generated reaction. That was not planned. That was not like a trigger set up like, okay, like when character X do Y. No, it was quite literally the AI and everything is so advanced now that this shit can walk up, sense that there's a wall, and be like, oh, I'm going to put my hand here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the biggest thing that I was looking at and blew me away was, like, light in that, because I'm a nerd about
Yeah,
it, liking video and
I
stuff.
was gonna bring that up.
Seeing how they can have a non-static light source that can go onto walls and stuff, and it's smart enough to bounce off as it goes from something that, like, they didn't plan, like, oh, you shine a light over here, but it's still going to show on walls and stuff, that blew my mind. And the last time that I had this whole experience of, like, I think we're just getting to a point where stuff looks too good, was Final Fantasy Advent Children, when that came out on DVD. I remember seeing a scene from it, and I was like, I can count the hairs on that character. And I was like, this is peak. Like, we can't get better than this. And then, like, 2 years later, I was like, oh my god.
We're better than this.
Yeah.
But also, like, just smaller things with the lighting, in the fact that they got both the bouncing of light, like, very, very realistic, as well as I watch a lot of videos about, like, CGI and stuff like this. Shout out to Corridor, because they're dope.
Not sponsored.
No, it's not. But
I would love to do stuff with them.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Nico,
But
Sam, hey, hit
they
us up.
Hey.
they talk about stuff like ambient inclusion, which is when light will actually pass through stuff like your ear or the tip of your nose at certain angles, and you actually see on the character, like, some ambient inclusion for the fact that it, like, will go into their skin and bounce off slightly from that, and you can see light from their ear, like on the over the shoulder camera and everything, from that sort of handheld light that they have. It's ridiculous.
The idea that, like, it going back to, like, procedural generated stuff, like, they were talking about at one point, like, they were talking about how the character will react to the environment while they're climbing and naturally move their feet and hands into spots that would make sense for them to rest while they're moving up. And, like, looking at Uncharted, which is very similar, where it's just, hey, you're going to climb this big wall, mash whatever button, and, you know, shut your brain off for a few seconds. Seeing that actually be made in a way where it's pretty much just, they figured out how to put it together without it feeling like it's just something scripted. It'll go wherever it feels is the most natural.
They're making video games more realistic, period.
Yeah.
Like, they're starting to fully mirror real life. And that's really cool, because we as humans are so unpredictable and wild, and we can do whatever, and would, like, you're never going to find two people who do the same thing the same way. Everyone has their own way to go about doing things, even if it's only, like, the most minor of differences. And that's really cool, because now video game characters will go out of their way to do what they feel is right, not, this is spot where I put hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do we get to a point where they are too realistic, though? Like, is GTA going to become a big deal again with, oh, it's too realistic, you can go kill someone, you can buy a hooker in this game, and, like, murder everyone? Is that going to...
Jeremy's in Bible school. I don't want him going to no strip club.
Who bought Jeremy that game? Oh, I did. Oh, no.
Well, I just thought it was a game at first.
Those concerns will always be there. Have been there since video games have started getting...
It makes sense. Like, the ESRB is there for a reason. They're there to show, like, hey, this game isn't for children. And I think, like, Cyberpunk's going and run through that. They got hit with a AO rating in Brazil, which...
Yeah.
It...
To be
it
fair,
was hilarious seeing their response to that. They were just, yeah, we got hit with that rating. Yeah, we go hard in this. We don't fuck around.
Yeah, we're not trying to make no baby game.
this
This ain't your mama's game.
They listed everything that they had that gave them that rating, and I was just in shock. I was just, oh my god, this is going to be an amazing game.
I never actually read that, so hit me with some of those. Let me hear some.
Full-blown nudity, like
Terrific.
the CGI and sex scenes, which are first-person.
Terrific.
Their violence in a lot of different ways.
Absolutely terrific.
I think the big ones were the first-person sex scenes, because so part of that is you can't show someone orgasm in a game without it being AO, which I never knew that, and that's part of why it's AO, which is
It's just. Oh, hold on. Then that means someone actually has to like animate and render the nut.
Oh yeah. So,
Is it that same fucker?
dude, they got nut physics in this game.
Have nut physics.
I just want to say that if they don't have someone in the credits of Cyberpunk as just nut engineer, I'm mad.
You think they did mocap?
Oh. No, for that. Hold on. For the people that.
How would you wear the mocap suit?
Hold on.
All right, Greg. We just want you to stand there and hump this pillow for a couple minutes and pretend you're nut.
There's one of those mocap balls on the tip.
Hold on. There's gotta be. What would be funny as shit? All the people who worked on like the customizable genitalia, the first-person sex scenes, the nut rendering.
Man, that resume's gotta be great.
One, yes, and two. That whole like section, if it's not called within like the development team, the G spot, like that's they're missing out.
It's the perfect opportunity if they don't do that.
They really are.
Like if some Jersey schmuck can tell you what that is, like you gotta.
What do you mean you can't find the G spot?
It's easy.
I can find it with my eyes closed. I've been doing this for like 2 minutes.
I don't know. I feel like there is a point where games are, like, we're getting very close to games being so realistic, getting to Uncanny Valley, that the experiences that people experience in them, which is a dumb sentence, but what people go through in those games, I think are going to impact as much, if not more, as movies and any other media that's out there.
It's very crazy now because it went from being a very different thing where you watch a movie, you sit down, you experience something, and then you play a game where you sit down and you can experience the story but in a different way. Now it's kind of merging together where you're getting these basically interactable movies, which are not like you're sitting there with a remote and it gives you 30 seconds of Shrek staring at you before you choose, option 1 or option 2, and then it plays the adding on movie clip. It's, hey, here's a legitimate thing that looks like a movie but is fully interactable and you can do anything you want with it.
Look,
Maybe Rain was the start of that.
Walking Dead walked so games could run now is the best way to put it.
Telltale, as like shitty as of a company they became, like
they really did.
Oh,
their best game was Wolf Among Us. I'll fight people on that.
You live long enough to die a hero, or was you
either die a
hero or live long enough?
Live long enough to become a villain. And goddamn it, Telltale, you chose option B.
They shat the bed on that one.
But I really do think there's going to be more games that start showing up that are just like interactive movie style, and not like, what was it, Night Trap or fucking whatever. There was an old game that was one of those where it's just, hey, we're gonna play video and you do interactions to it, and they'll just show up with the interactions, and it's just like FMV, full motion video games. They're still around, but this is like the next step for them, I think.
Absolutely. It's also just crazy if you sit down and you think about how video game graphics to begin with, like you go back to 8-bit where they're little pixels on the screen. We level up to 16-bit where it's like, oh, these are some nice looking pixels. Then you get to like 32, and then you're skipping up to like Nintendo 64 where it's like Super Mario 64, but you get a very clearly polygon Mario running around in like
3D space.
In 3D space. Then you move up, you got GameCube, and now you got Mario Kart Double Dash and shit like that. Where you're like, whoa, dude, these are pretty cool looking dudes. And now you jump all the way up here, and it's like, is that a person? They have a tiny man in my PS5.
It's really interesting seeing that, because not like in a bad way, games still appreciate the old art styles. Plenty of games are coming out that are still 8-bit, 16-bit.
The
Octopath
messenger.
like-
Traveler.
Yeah, they can share the same space, and it's not just nostalgia. Everyone, when people like indie developers in particular started doing 8-bit, 16-bit games, everyone was like, "Oh, this is just nostalgia. No one's going to care about it in years." But some of my favorite games are those games that are 8-bit, 16-bit, and it's easier to go back to a game like that than to go to a game that was on, like, PlayStation 1 or PS2, because I think that lends more to the controls in those games. They did not know what they were doing.
No.
You try and play a shooter before Halo, and it's the worst experience. You're just walking around, and it's like, oh yeah, you can't aim with the right stick. You gotta, use the face buttons to turn yourself 90 degrees at a time.
Fucking
Good luck.
GoldenEye.
They slap you down there, they give you a pat on the ass, and they say, "Hey, good luck, kid."
Are there any games that you guys want to see built in these engines now?
Oh, one that comes to my mind is one that I've been playing relatively recently. It's goes by the name of Kingdoms of Amalur.
I remember that game. I remember it coming out, and I remember not picking it up.
It was from 38 Studios, and Big Epic Games were the two ones that.
BioWare.
No, it wasn't a BioWare, or
It was BioWare.
it was a BioWare.
It was
because Big
BioWare
Epic
because they had a
Games-
tie-in to Mass Effect, where you could get gear from it. That's the only reason
Yeah.
why I remember that game.
Yeah, you're right. But that game had an art style that was kind of a mix between like high fantasy and like cell shade ish. But just as I've been replaying through this game, it's just the story is fairly decent. Could use a bit more polish, but company spent like $17 million on this game, or like $12 million, and then went bankrupt because of it.
That game deserved more,
It did.
but I think it came out at a bad time. Something else had just come out right around then, so it got overshadowed.
I think it was something like Mass Effect and
Dark Souls.
no, that was like 2 years prior. I think it was like Skyrim or some other big
Yeah.
RPG like that.
It came out at a bad time. It's a good game, and looking back on it, it deserved to get a sequel, because with a sequel, I think they would have been able to really put that game out there and make it more like accessible.
BioWare does still own the IP though,
Yeah.
so you never know.
My vote, it's going to be something that I think Brendan would also agree with. Probably when he missed, and he's going to hit himself for missing. But I would love to see an 8K rendered Fable game.
Ah!
Oh my god. That would be amazing.
And he's kicking himself because he completely did not think about that.
Fable with those graphics.
Can you imagine just walking around in Fable with 8K rendered graphics, water physics that mimic real life to a T, like the incredible like light and all the refractions and shit, and then like
Oi, lad!
Oh,
You're walking
man.
around Albion and you want to fucking kick a chicken into the next fucking county. You can do it in 8K now.
that chicken will adapt to its surroundings as it's punted.
You can see every individual feather and each hair on the feather. Oh my god. God damn it, you're right. Because fuck. Literally my name for like from like middle school to like high school, still now in some accounts, is 1234 Fable fan. Because that was some of the first games that I played on Xbox, besides Assassin's Creed and like Fable were like the two big ones that I had started. And first game of the series I picked up was 2. And let's be honest, 2 was probably the best
It was.
for those who played it. Yeah, it's 3. I still had
The
fun.
other games were broken, like, promises and just filled with lies.
Yeah, 2 kind of delivered though.
I know it might sound dumb, But the game that I want to see in that graphics would be Fallout New Vegas. Or like
Oh,
a sequel to
nice.
that. Give me that and
Nice.
I'll pay so much money to walk around the wasteland with
Fucking-
amazing light rays coming through and
Bro.
reflections.
running
Walk-
running through the Mojave, being chased by an 8K rendered Deathclaw.
Deathclaw.
No, for me, what would be probably the most exciting to see would be like Julius's return, and
Oh
like
my
his
God.
fucking Centurion armor, just AK battle scarred and everything, because you can see it in regular New Vegas, but just imagine that like fine detail.
Imagine fine detail Kazdors, and that would give me nightmares.
Okay, Castor's kind of already give me nightmares to begin with, but like in 8K, one coming at your face, no.
The idea of like
You're
being
walking
a-
down the highway at night and hearing a super mutant come up behind you in 8K.
Ooh.
Oh. With a stealth boy, just you don't know he's there, but the light reflecting off of him, you can
No.
kind of notice.
It would be like ever so slight too.
It'd be like a heat
Oh.
wave in the air, and you're like, wait
Yeah.
a minute.
Like, wait a second, it's cold as shit out here. It's -40. Check the Pip Boy. It's like, yep, well, I'm fucked.
Dude, just imagine in playing Fallout and your character walks into a building and they put their hand like on a table or like
They put their hand on the
push
wall,
open
they
the
duck
door.
their head.
Poker, the strip.
Oh my god, that would be if they had these resources when that game came out, it would really up the like grandiose and the scale of the strip, because that would just be insane.
It's already the best Fallout game.
Ian, you've been very quiet, so I'm honestly got very interested in hearing what you
Yeah.
want to see rendered.
So I actually haven't played literally any of the games you're talking about, but because I grew up in Nintendo household.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nintendo boys.
Yo,
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild was pretty much
Any-
that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I think a good game that would, I guess, from Nintendo would be like maybe Mario 64.
Oh,
I mean,
That's what we got
uh,
Odyssey for.
Yeah.
but Odyssey, if it had those graphics, I
Yeah.
would feel uncomfortable seeing
Dude, that'd
Mario
be-
next to people.
That'd be
I
I
like,
think
already
that-
do.
hold on.
I think I'd be
yeah,
very-
New Donk
yep.
City.
Yeah.
That's
Have
so
you guys
uncomfortable.
ever seen that that weirdly like 4K render Mario face where it's like
Oh,
huge
yeah.
Mario?
Oh, with the weird mustache
Yes.
and all that.
Can you
Oh,
imagine that guy
gosh.
coming at you in 8K?
Hey,
Dude,
Yahoo!
Imagine 8K Mario nips. Just like
mm,
Mario is an Italian man. He should have a hairy chest.
Oh yeah. Another good game would be Mario Sunshine.
Dude,
Oh,
like the
Sunshine
water
would be-
oh,
physics for that
speaking of
game?
Sunshine,
Crazy nice.
there's a stuff that is rumored to be remakes of Sunshine and both of the Galaxy games.
Ooh.
Wind
Which-
Waker's getting a remake on Switch.
Is it a
Again?
full remake or are they just porting
Wait.
it?
Full,
Didn't
full remake.
Okay.
At least from
I-
what I've heard.
So, the thing is, and Mario Sunshine got a very bad rap by a lot of people.
It's good.
Mario
Yeah.
Sunshine is one of my favorite Mario games because it's different. And imagining the island that Mario's running around on with like realistic sand physics would
Yeah.
be insane. Just seeing him kick up sand and like a shore come in and like actually smooth it out.
Mario
Yeah.
Sunshine walked so Odyssey could run at me because you have the companion on your back. Except now it's in Odyssey it's a hat,
Cappy.
Cappy.
Honestly, it would never happen. Never ever happen.
Yeah.
But 8K Dead by Daylight.
That is straight nightmare fuel.
Like
that
because
would
you
be,
have
yeah, that would be
oh,
scary as
no.
hell.
dude, you already have stuff like the Wraith. The Wraith, in my opinion, is kind of gross because like he's got the whole wrapped face and everything,
Chicken
Yeah.
legs.
chicken legs.
So,
Plus, he's running
I-
around invisible. You just see like a shimmer of his outline.
The hag eating your liver and like biting your neck in
Mm.
8K.
God, those Mori kills would be gross.
Myers pinning you again, like is stabbing
Just-
you on the knife and holding you there.
Oh man.
stabbing you into a tree. Just
seeing
So
that in 8K would probably be
yeah,
the scariest fucking thing ever. But
that would be like trauma worthy.
Ugh.
games, I hate horror games. I don't hate them. I just am a pussy, so I can't play them.
Hey.
And
Yeah, I feel you.
recently, my brother tricked me into playing a horror, not horror, but like super atmospheric game
Which one?
called Dusk. And
I think
hadn't-
better than
I hadn't heard anything about it. It's PS1 style graphics, so like super low polygon and everything, complete opposite. But I want to say it's made by one guy, and damn, that game scares the shit out of me, but also has one of the best soundtracks I've heard in the past like year, and can set a mood really well. It will like spawn you into a open like field, and all you see around you is like, hey, here's what looks to be a church, and you can go open the door and go in. When you do though, you open it up and 3 guys with chainsaws run out at you, and you shit your pants because you didn't expect it. My brother tricked me by being like, yo, I'm having a problem with this game. And then I was like, oh, what are you having an issue with? He's like, it's after this level, you get to the cornfield and it'll happen. And I was like, all right, let me see if I have the same issue with it. I'm terrible at, like, opening up games that people recommend me. And he tricked me by doing that. And I played through the level, got to that point, and I messaged him. And as I was playing through a level, I messaged him and I was like, this is just going to be me playing this game, isn't it? And he's like, I don't know. And then I got to that point, and I messaged him, and he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool, right? And I was like, God damn it.
So you like it, right? You gonna keep playing?
But it's crazy seeing these games that one person makes, because I feel like indie games are filling a lot of voids that AAA games are kind of like lacking in.
Yeah,
Where-
or sometimes neglecting.
Yeah.
Exactly. A game that's made by like EA or Bethesda, a ton of companies, they can put out a game where it's, oh hey, we have microtransactions, we're just going to wait on patches for bug fixes, stuff comes out and it doesn't even work half the time.
Mhm.
Whereas indie games consistently now are one person or like a few people will work on it and put it out, and it's crazy acclaim for them because they have the attention to detail in them. They don't have loot boxes all the time and stuff. I don't know, but I feel as though AAA games are very good, but they aren't filling what people want in games all the time.
If I can give my 2 cents,
Please.
I feel like it's very much like indie games are basically one man or woman or like a small team's entire heart and soul being poured into this game. Like they are putting their all into this creation because they want it to succeed and they want it to do well. And they want it to be something that people remember, and that, you know, people will be like, man, this game really defined something for me in my life or whatever. And then big corporation AAA games now are like all being released way too early. Deadlines are being pushed, you know, maybe the game's not ready yet, and the big corporate money grubbers are like, we want money. Put out the broken not good game. What do you mean Anthem's not ready? Send it out. I want money.
Oh man, Anthem was a shit show when that game came out. Almost as
Still
bad as
kinda
Predator
is.
was.
Never heard of
Once
that
you
one.
once you found out that the numbers that appeared when you dealt damage in
Were
Anthem
fake.
were
Right.
fake. They
Really?
weren't real damage numbers. They just put a whole random number generator kind of bullshit. So whenever you shot something, it would just be like, number.
Dude, to not put the number that you're dealing as damage, why? Just why? It's easier to put the real number in than to fake it. They had more effort to make people think they were dealing more damage than they weren't.
At one point, I think it was that the gun you started with in Anthem dealt the most damage out of any gun in the game.
because of how their whole like system worked. Because how they started Anthem was not as a shooter. It just was not built for it, and so they had to build a new engine for it from the ground up, and it just was released unfinished.
Wow.
I feel more and more now, I'm realizing games that are made by AAA, I am not as interested in as games by small studios. I've been playing Slay the Spire like a madman for the past few days. That game's awesome. Probably one of the best roguelikes ever made. And I played hours upon hours of Binding of Isaac and stuff. But I see a lot more people saying, oh, this indie game's my favorite, or like, oh, this indie game was one of the best games of the year. And I didn't realize it till recently that has grown insanely, where games like Celeste and Undertale have like crazy huge cult followings that I never would have expected from an indie game like 6 years ago.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one to say it, but like Five Nights at Freddy's was one that immediately like stuck out in my mind.
It still has a cult following, and it inspired plenty of spin-offs.
It's blown up.
That game wasn't for me, but I could tell why.
The first one was... Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
Oh, the first one was just like humongous. It just really took off, and then, he started making a couple more. It's just like those. It's hard to imagine that it was just made by the one guy, and I think he had a team later, but just that first game being that popular where it's just him making it, like, that was insane.
The biggest game for me in that regard was Stardew Valley. That game is so big, and it's only one dude. One guy that was just like, yeah, this is my passion project. I want to make this. I hope people like it. And he put it out, and that game is still going strong with people that play it and watch it and everything.
And
I'm not going to lie. Me being a smooth brain that I am, I can't contemplate the whole farming aspect of Stardew Valley because he put his heart and soul into it. And it's an actual like, oh, these are the best seasons. These are the best planting rotations. This is when you should do this. This is when you should do that. And I'm like, haha, sword go burr.
Look, dude, I don't know. Stardew, I think part of the reason why a lot of people like it is it's not just harvesting crops and like talking to villagers like Animal Crossing. Like, there's combat in that.
Combat, fishing, romance, the whole 9 yards.
See, from my point of view, I came from... I originally just was not interested in Stardew Valley because I was like, why would I play that when I have a game like Harvest Moon? If any of you have ever played that. It's essentially everything Stardew Valley is, except there's no combat. It's literally just a farming dating sim, essentially.
Did you say Harvest Moon?
Yeah, Harvest Moon. You remember?
Oh, yeah. I was about to mention Harvest Moon.
Yeah, Harvest Moon.
I love that game.
I still have my copy for the Wii. I forget what that game was called.
I have the GameCube version still.
But, yeah, that was the game I started with because I enjoyed that kind of stuff, and it was just simple menial. I was like, haha. Then I picked up Stardew Valley and was like, okay, I kind of get it. But then I started getting a bit deeper into it, and I was like, oh.
I remember back in high school, I think it was our junior or senior year, I can't remember what, but I think it was like me and Brendan sat down one night, and I was like, hey, I've only played this game like twice, and like I lost it both times. You want to sit down and like start a farm together? It's whenever they had multiplayer. I cannot remember when they had
that was our junior year. They introduced
something like that. But I remember sitting down and being like, hey, do you want to, start up a farm together? Because I can't get into this on my own. I'm not big brained enough for this. And me and Brendan sat down after school. Like we got home from school at like 3:00 and sat down, and it was 2:30 in the morning on like a Wednesday night when we were like, oh shit, we should probably leave.
Yeah, we were just in middle conversation. We were talking about because I remember you were like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go like upgrade our barn so we can get more cows," and I was like, "Oh dope! I just finished up the optimal fall rotation," and then it was just like I looked at my phone because I got like an email or something, and I'm just like, "Oh fuck, it's 2:30."
I
We
think
both kind of panicked because we were
everyone has had games where they're playing and they don't realize the time, and then they look and it's just, oh, it's 4 a.m. I should sleep at some point.
Oh fuck, sleep's a thing.
Yeah, but then that weekend we slept maybe a total of 4 hours during the weekend because
The whole weekend consisted of how far can we get in Stardew Valley and still function as human beings afterwards.
we got a little too far.
I think, so, indie games as a whole, with more people getting interested in them, I think part of the reason why they were so popular at the start was they didn't need a publisher, which made it a lot easier. Hey, we can put out a game digitally and throw this out, and people can get it without having to go to a store and pick it up. And with past years, games are getting big, like, in scale and also in file size.
The Witcher 3, 96 gigabytes.
My brother downloaded Warzone yesterday. It was 100 gigs to download Warzone for Call of Duty. And I was like, that's insane. How far do we go till we're like, alright, we gotta cut down sizes on games, guys?
How big is Cyberpunk gonna be?
Rainbow Six Siege is like 90 gigs, 60 gigs at this
96 gigs.
96 gigs, something like that at this point. Which when they first dropped that one big update, I remember when we were in it, we were all like, oh wow, an update, that's cool. How much is it? 36 gigabyte update. And we're like, what? I wanted to play this game tonight, not in a week, thank you.
It took me 2 days to finish that download.
I had a 36 gig update yesterday. Halo 2.
What?
Halo 2 came out yesterday on PC. Or, well, technically today. But they put that out, and I was like, yeah, I'll go, like, launch up the multiplayer, play for, like, an hour or so. Then I looked and I was just like, oh, this is a literal 36 gig update for the multiplayer. Not even single player.
Wow.
Do you see games going solely digital at a point?
Possibly, but
go ahead, Brendan. I was cutting off.
As long as consoles are around, while yes, they still offer like to purchase those games digitally, you have limited hardware space for that. So a hard copy kind of frees up that space of where it's only, oh hey, this is save files, instead of having to both read the entire like 346 gigabyte game that we'll have in like 8 years.
I want to say yes, really badly. I want to say that digital will take over in regards to physical, but there's just so many limitations with digital. Like the Nintendo Switch or whatever, you got to get a micro SD or else you got like barely any space. You can fit like 2 games and then you're shit out of luck unless you get a micro SD, and those only go so big. And yeah, some of them get pretty big, but you're eventually going to run out of space. And discs, it's a lot easier because you're less likely to run out of physical space than you are to run out of digital space, at least when it comes to like memory restrictions and hardware and shit. And then on top of that, you get these games that are old that are or indie games that are being released as like special edition limited run hard copies, where people are going out of their way to drop, hundreds of dollars on these games because they want physical copies of them. It's kind of like that thing where there is a certain speciality or specialness to physical copies, where it's a lot different to sit down, go onto Steam and spend $60 and be like, I have Borderlands 2 now. in comparison to opening up the red Borderlands, loot chest you got for pre-ordering the game, opening up the the smooth hardcover metal case, and then like looking at the game sitting there and be like, nah, that's a game. It's a whole feasible difference. It's palpable, the difference in it. And I feel like that novelty of the physical discs are going to keep them around for a long, long time, if not indefinitely, period.
I agree with that because so years ago I would have said, oh, everything's going to start going digital at some point. But my brother is super into collecting like physical Switch copies and limited run and special reserve companies like that where they'll put out a game that's like, hey, it's normally an indie game on the eShop. We're going to put out a physical copy of it with like an art book, some stickers, and like little information from the game with a physical copy of it. I can see why that is so appealing because if it's a game that you're really into, like you've bought every version of it that's come out or something, you would be inclined to want to pick up that physical copy if it's a special edition. And like I ordered a copy of Hotline Miami on Switch physically from them recently. And I see people picking up special editions of games, and I can see why people will pick up regular editions of games for underdeveloped countries. Have you ever heard about FIFA still being released on PS2?
Really?
No.
The newest FIFA games always get released on PS2 because Brazil has a very heavy amount of people still playing PS2 games. So every year, every year it's like, hey, let's go pick up the new FIFA and play that for the next year on PS2. And there's a whole like gray market of video game consoles there. It's really interesting to hear about where they're making like pirated consoles to play games because they can't get them made in their country. And I see why physical games are still being released because of that. But I think overall in large scale, like fully developed countries, you will have people shift more towards digital downloads as the cost for a gig of memory goes down. And I could see people still collecting, but not as many people buying physical now.
Yeah, I was gonna make a similarity between like CDs or vinyl versus streaming music because it's kind of the same thing if you think about it. You know, um, I have a couple vinyls. That's like my collection, not really of video games or anything like that. I don't buy too much of those. But like, I think there's always gonna be a market for physical copies, whether it's games, audio, whatever. Just because everyone likes to have a collection, everyone wants to have something physical to represent them or what they like. And like, although downloading content is easy and you can always just upgrade storage space and it's getting cheaper and more accessible, it's just like having like I used to have like an entire wall of uh, GameCube and Wii games, like 3 or 4 shelves full of just all the games that we played, and we had a whole shelf of games we haven't played. And it's like once you start it, like we started moving games over after we played them, put them in order or whatever. We would make like sort of like a tier list of our games within the shelf itself, and that stuff is just like it's nice to have. It's nice to have like a physical representation of like what you put your time in.
There's also something just nice about being like, hey, I think you should play this game here.
Yeah,
And just handing someone a box with the copy of the game in it and being like, hey, you really need to experience this, which you don't get with digital games. It's a lot more, oh, I should wait for it to go on a sale and pick it up, and then which sales are the craziest, coolest thing now, that there's always sales going on games everywhere, to a point where, hey, I want to pick up XCOM, where can I go pick it up? And you find 6 different websites that are selling it at half price, because that's just how they work.
Yeah, that's what everyone actually in my neighborhood did. We had like 3 or 4 people on our block where we would just send games over from one house to another. It's like, oh, you want to play this game? Just basically send me something that I would be interested in. And it's like it's kind of like a community thing too.
It's kind of like the Grand Exchange in RuneScape. You're sliding games to each other, and you're like, "Oh, buying girlfriend, looking for a copy of Spyro for PS2."
Mm-hmm.
Want to buy GF?
That's the only thing I know about that. That and the
Wave
rainbow text.
Flash.
Yeah.
Wave Flash will dance for GF.
Yeah. 10K gold.
10K gold an hour. It's honest to God just crazy how the novelty of having a physical game where like you quite literally, like, I have a whole shelf full of games and books and everything, and to just like sit there and be able to look at them and be like, damn, dude, this is my childhood, this is my teenage, like, you can have the whole separation where you can look at a game and be like, I got this game when I was 8 years old. I didn't even know what the fuck I was doing with myself, but here I have this game from all the way back then. Instead of sifting through your Steam library at 2 a.m. and being like, oh, I haven't played this game since November, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, I remember getting a copy of the original Animal Crossing on GameCube, and that's just like burned into my memory now. And you definitely can still be like, oh, let me look through all these games that I played. There's something special about having that physical copy. Like, I bought a physical copy of League of Legends, and I still have it. It's crazy.
You're right. That used to be a physical copy. Before it was just, oh no.
It's just crazy, man. It really is crazy.
Plus, like, sometimes when you're looking through the big shelf of video games, you could just like, why not just pop it out and play it, you know? But when you're going through Steam, it's like, oh, I don't even have this game downloaded. This game, you know, I haven't played it in like 4 months. Why would I bother playing it now?
It's a hell of a lot easier to grab a game from the shelf and be like, damn, dude, I haven't played this in a hot minute.
Yeah. It's like you're like finding a literal game to just play, like on your Switch even. And it's just, I'll play this one. I haven't played that in a while. Just play it. But I've never done that on Steam or like online games. I've never just looked at a game and been like, yeah, I haven't played you in 7 months. I'll just play you now. Nah. You have to be like in a certain mood.
It's a lot more overwhelming looking at a Steam library and just seeing, oh, I have 600 games sitting here. What do I play? As opposed to, oh, here's 3 boxes, or like, not even just 3 boxes, but looking at a wall of games is something different, because we could then look at what's on the wall, and you see each of the boxes, they all have different artwork on them, which I think artwork for, like, cover art for games is part of the reason why physical games are so popular still.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. When you're walking through the GameStop or whatever game store you have locally, and you're sitting there and you're like, damn, dude, I pulled this random ass game off the Xbox 360 shelf, and it's got a picture of a cool dude with a cool sword. I'm interested.
AKA Asura's Wrath.
Never played it.
Dude,
that was a movie.
Don't you punch God in that game?
You punch multiple gods.
Of course. Oh no, there's something, I still have these memories burned in my head of when I got certain games. I remember waking up early when Crackdown 2 came out on 360 and going to GameStop that morning and waiting outside being like, I gotta pick it up, gotta pick it up. And then coming home with it, or like midnight releases. Midnight releases are a lot more lackluster when it's a digital versus a physical game.
Mm.
And you make your own fun with that, where like when Animal Crossing came out, it was midnight. We had a group of people waiting in Discord just being like, yo, did you get in yet? No? No, you didn't get in? Okay, here, try going to the eShop and then reopening it, and it should work. And everyone was like, oh, holy shit, let's go to each other's islands. And then it was 3 in the morning, and we were all like, we should sleep. But
It's incredible.
I don't know, there's something... Have you guys been to midnight releases for any games? Like, in person?
I was at the midnight release for Assassin's Creed 3
Dude,
because I was ridiculously hyped for that because one, as just like a kind of history buff, I was very much interested in like colonial America and
yeah.
the sort of dynamic that it had, especially with like those of the native people, and it kind of showed that part where I was like, oh hey, this is really cool. That, and I love the Assassin's Creed games. I love them still. Viking rap battles. Let's go. But I was sitting there with my dad at like 11:30. He's sitting there with a coffee, being like, looking like a zombie, and then I just see these other guys around me, and I start talking with this guy who's like twice my age at least. About it, and just how the other games were fun, what we liked about them, what we didn't, what we're excited to see in this new game. So that, as Ian had put, there is a community around stuff like physical games and just physical releases that just sort of, I guess, help propagate the culture.
You see the community.
Yeah.
You see the group of people that are also super excited for a game. And, like, I went to Destiny Taken King's midnight launch, which was ridiculous because that game wasn't even available to play for another 6 hours after the midnight launch. So I literally picked it up and was like, hey, I have this.
What do I do now?
I bought the PS4 with that, so I was sitting there and I was like, awesome, I got this new PS4, I get to play Destiny, the new expansion, guess I'll do it in the morning. So I started updating that PS4 right away. I don't know, the idea, like, I have memories of, like, midnight releases and, like, opening days for games, and it's something that you don't see often. But you see these communities come together and, like, celebrate this thing that everyone's excited for. And I feel like the only other time that I've really seen a community come together fully like that is Magfest and, like, conventions where it's, like, everyone getting together, celebrating the stuff that they enjoy, and just, like, having a fun time with it.
Bro, the cons and, like, Magfest and everything like that is crazy because you could go there not knowing anybody and you could leave with like 15 to 20 new friends if you really tried to.
You really see everyone in that community, and you get to talk with them, and you have this common interest when you show up there. And, like, I don't know if you guys have favorite memories or anything from, so aside from everything, we all went to Magfest together, which is Music and Games Festival in Maryland we went to.
At the National Gaylord Hotel. And yes, that is the name.
Yes, bitch.
Yes, honey.
But, so for some of you, it was a first or second convention, and it's, like, so I've been to a few of them. And I want to hear, like, favorite experiences going to stuff like that, where you get to see all this stuff.
I'll take the reins on this. Magfest was my second convention. The only other convention I had went to was a couple months beforehand. for my 20th birthday, I had went with Brendan and a couple of our other mutual friends to Otakon down
Yeah, in DC.
In DC, and I had no idea what to expect. Period. Going into this, I had always seen like the YouTuber videos where it's like, oh, welcome to TwitchCon. Oh, we're at Comic-Con. Woo! And you're like, dude,
Hey!
that's so cool. I'm gonna see all these YouTubers and everything's gonna be super cool and everything. And I was so ready for this storybook experience kind of thing. But what I got was something even better, because I remember we woke up at like 7, 8 o'clock, and Brendan, our volunteer driver, comes around and starts picking everybody up. And he picks up me, and he picks up our friend Nicole, and then we drive 3 hours down to go pick up our friend Mike from Rowan University. And we pick him up, and then we drive all the way straight to DC, just no stops, one day sitting there kind of thing. And I remember that drive being so much fun. And we were blasting anime intros and just geeking out and having a great time in the car. And we get there, and our friend Mark meets us there by train. And I remember, like, this was the first time I could check into a hotel by myself. I didn't need my parents or anything like that. And I was like, that's sick as fuck.
It was a really weird experience with that.
They were calling me Mr. and Sir and everything. I was like, dude, I'm 20. I just turned 20. You gotta, like, I am a fucking baby. But just going there and experiencing that, I was like, okay, cool. This is really amazing. And then after that, I became really close friends with Ryan, and Ryan kind of met everyone and became really close friends. And Ryan was like, let's go to Magfest. And he kind of really pushed for it. And I remember we were sitting at Ian's house playing games at like 2 a.m. and eating lasagna. And Ryan was like, let's go to
I remember this. Yes, I remember this.
Ryan was like, let's go to Magfest. And Ian was like, I've never been to any kind of convention. Ryan's like, we're going to Magfest.
Yeah.
And what was it, like at least a week later, we were all like, oh yeah, we bought our tickets.
Yeah.
It was, he said that, and we had started planning. I think that was like September.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple months. We had a couple months to prep, and then November came around, and we all sat down and got into a Discord call, and we're like, Ryan was at my house, and it was me and him in a Discord call, and Brendan and Ian online, and we all were there trying to book a hotel room together.
Oh man, I remember sitting in your room, just at the computer, us just hanging out, just waiting for the timer to let us buy a ticket.
You were trying to teach me how to skateboard before that.
Oh my god, that was the same day.
Because
Brendan had brought his longboard.
You still have it.
I still have it.
Yeah.
It's in my closet. And they were trying to teach me how to skateboard, and then Ryan's like, oh shit, we should probably go get our hotel room. And we sat there and we're like shooting the shit, trying to book this hotel room, whatever. Then we got the hotel room together, and there was just this wave of hype over us. Like Ian never being to a convention, me only being to one. Everyone was like hyped for it. And Ian was like, let's go to the gym and get ripped before Magfest.
Yeah.
And so there was like a couple month period we were all just going to the gym together. And obviously it didn't work because I'm not ripped.
We had a pretty good plan with that.
We were on a good grind.
We gotta start that back up again.
Once we're able to, we absolutely need to.
Oh yeah.
But it was incredible having this wave of like hype over everyone and everything. Like we're sitting there ready and waiting for this convention, and it finally rolls around. And I really took a long kind of explanation to get into this, but it was truly incredible just going there with my boys and having a great time. Like we'd all bought Kigurumi onesies so we could go around the convention floor and Kigurumis together, which quite honestly, we probably looked like the biggest losers ever, but it was entirely fun and very comfortable.
We got compliments.
We got compliments.
We showed up on their Instagram videos.
We showed up. We're on their YouTube channels. You could see 4 dudes in Kigurumis in the middle of like raves and shit. That's us. That's us. I could point out where we are in certain videos. But
we got a bright orange narwhal. We have a man in a panda. We have one from what was yours?
Danganronpa.
Danganronpa.
Ryan's was from Danganronpa, but we swapped.
I never played that game before.
And
we had a Fortnite llama.
Fortnite llama.
Yeah.
And whatever edgy murder bear.
That Fortnite llama is like, fucking sisterhood of traveling pants. That's going through all of us at some point.
I've
worn
Brendan started with it.
Brendan started it.
It's now in Ryan's hands.
Brendan wore it. It gave him some serious moose knuckles, so he passed it on to Ryan. And Ryan wore it, and Ryan still wears it.
It's so big on me because I'm a small dude, and it's just.
Brendan's like 6'2".
I'm 6'2", and I have really wide shoulders.
You're 6'2". I'm 5'10".
Ryan's 5'10" and skinny. So it was the funniest thing. Ryan looked like he was wearing his dad's like suit.
My dad gave me his Kigurumi wear.
And
he told me
we're
not to
sitting
get
there
a
doing
stain
this.
on it.
And we're having all this fun doing that. But my favorite story, my absolute favorite story, was I remember one of the nights Ryan was with one of his other friends, and he showed up late to this. But we were at a rave, and I remember seeing this really, really cute girl. And I'm shy as fuck, dude. Like,
I remember this.
I know I probably, if people have talked to me outside of this or whatever, like I know my coworkers, anyone who watches, they're gonna say like, oh, what do you mean? Like you're pretty, you seem pretty energetic, pretty extroverted, whatever. But like I am shy as fuck when it comes to like huge crowds and everything like that. I remember I saw this hella cute girl in a Wonder Woman costume. And I remember turning to Ian and I was like, shit, dude, that girl is really cute. Like, that girl is really, really fucking cute. And Ian's like, talk to her. And I'm like, I can't do that. No, I really cannot do that. And Ian's like, I'm going to go hype you up and then you come talk to her. And I was like, yeah, okay, I could do that. And I remember we were in the middle of this rave. And as he's saying he'll do that, we turn around and she's gone.
Oh.
And we see her walking out of the thing, and I was like, God damn, it's over. And Ian's like, it's fine, dude, we'll get you another girl, like, this will be fine, we'll have a fun time, whatever. And I remember just sitting there dancing or whatever, and I see her come back, and I'm like, Ian!
Mind you, we are still all in our animal kigurumis at this.
We're still, I'm wearing a teddy bear costume. Ian's a bright orange narwhal. And I was like, Ian, help! And he tries to go find his way through the crowd to get to her. And he's trying to figure out a way to talk to her, whatever. And right as he's about to go up, I see him walking up to go be like, yo, my boy over there thinks you're hella cute, whatever. A guy puts his arm around her.
Yeah.
And it's her boyfriend that she was waiting for because she was checking her phone like constantly. And the guy puts his arm around her. And immediately Ian just like, and turns around and I'm sitting there and I'm like, and like it's the biggest, like the sad Naruto music, everything was playing in my head. I'm like defeated.
We'll get him next time.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time. Real quick though, shout out to that girl. Like if you were that girl in the Wonder Woman cosplay at Magfest when they were playing
DJ
Cutman, that set and everything like that. If you were that girl there, got my eyes on you.
Which also, shout out to DJ Cutman. Because that dude,
DJ Cutman.
Dude came up and had a conversation with us while we were just chilling during one of them.
Yeah.
We're sitting on the back wall tired as fuck, and he's done with his set, and he's running out to take a break, and he comes over and just talks to us. And we're like, it starts, I think Ryan was like, yo, dude, nice set. If you ever need, like, some kind of, like, music or video producer or anything, hit me up. And the dude was like, yeah, okay. And he starts talking to us back and forth. And he's like, I'd really like to talk to you guys more, but I'm on my break. I'll be right back. And he just leaves. Coolest guy. Cool.
Really chill dude. Everyone that we met there seemed to be like just super like open and welcoming to everyone.
To kind of further expand on that, at our hotel room, unfortunately, we weren't able to get one at like the actual resort itself. So we got one just over the river, like literally a 5-minute drive from the convention hall. And so Magfest had like cleared out an entire just floor for the people who were attending. And so what had happened was during like the day, we mostly just kind of chilled in the hotel room and just waited until the nighttime. And by the time we mean at least after midnight, because that's when the raves would start.
Magfest don't start till midnight.
Magfest don't start till midnight.
The real party don't start till the kids go to sleep.
They know you gotta sleep through the day so you can wake up at night.
Exactly. Well, I also have another one after this, but we had decided to use those hotel like sticky notes.
I think you had kind of talked about this last podcast.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we had met people, really cool. One guy was a YouTuber, guy just from Virginia, but one that so if I've already talked about that one, the second one
sure you did.
would be, we had, this was like the night after DJ set, Cutman's set and all of the other artists there. The second night, we weren't feeling it all too much, so we just kind of like left. It was maybe like 3 a.m. by that time. And maybe like just down the hall, we found this guy with just like a turntable and like he had set up speakers and everything. And there was a fucking mosh pit just straight in the center in front of this guy's booth. And at first we all just like, we're just sitting there listening to the music. Then Ian starts going in, dancing. We have the Kigurumis on again, and he's just going hard. I just remember that because at some point we were all just in that mosh pit, just having fun, talking to new people. Connor was chatting up another girl.
It was a hilarious thing because we were like,
wait.
all right.
I just want to say, you can't say I'm chatting up another girl. That makes me seem like a really shitty, like...
No.
But like, what you people should know about conventions is you weren't talking to everyone.
You could walk up to any person in a convention pretty much and start a conversation. Yeah. And I remember that night because at some point Ian's dancing in there, and Ian can dance way better than I can. That is hands down.
Ian's probably the best dancer here.
I'm just there having a good time. Thanks. And one of like the people there that I knew just handed me a flask, and I was just like, oh cool, they're giving me a flask, let me drink however. And I don't remember much after that. It was just I drank, was in that whole mosh pit, and then I apparently was in the hotel room, and there's a amazing picture you guys got of me of a status of everyone from the night.
Oh yeah,
and
I think Connor did
each
that.
of you, and then me, and I'm just slumped.
We did a day one reaction to Magfest. So it was like, I was like, hell yeah. Ian was like, this is lit. Brendan was like, nice. And then Ryan's just dead on the bed. And I was like, fucking deceased.
It just said deceased. And I think that was the night we ordered IHOP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
was. We talked about that last time, and I still don't remember most of that. I woke up the next morning and was just eating chicken tenders and waffles, cold, just while everyone's asleep. I'm just like, oh, sick, nice.
When we get this?
I think easily one of the best. I have a few moments there that were awesome. I think the overall Magfest was just an amazing experience. Getting to hang out with you guys and just like be there to see you guys experience a different style of convention was amazing.
Very different.
But the best was it's like the Spider-Man shot of the two of them pointing at each other, with me and a friend of mine, coworker, person that I've gone to conventions with. Neither of us mentioned Magfest at any point to each other of us going. And then at one point, I get a message from him seeing that I was there, and he's like, hold up a fucking minute, are you here? And I was like, wait a minute, you're here? And it's just both of us just like, holy shit, we didn't know each other were going to be here.
Where the fuck are you?
That's why, like... So I went and met up with him, and I was like, oh shit, like, someone I know from other conventions and that, like, I'm good friends with is here. And, like, I hung out with him for a bit, but nothing beats us just, like, chilling, walking around the convention center, just, like, seeing the different games and stuff that they had there, and, like, the music that they just were able to showcase at the event. where there were points where we were just walking into the hall just being like, we don't know what's playing. May as well check it out, though. And
Mariachi band.
dude, the mariachi band was so
So good.
hype. It was so fun seeing a crowd of people just losing their minds to a mariachi band, and then getting the mariachi band to do a shot with, oh man,
With David Wise.
yeah,
David
David
Wise.
Wise just doing a shot with them on stage before performing was so surreal.
That leads in perfectly to my favorite moment though, because oh man. So I said before I was a huge Nintendo kid. I grew up in Nintendo household. Donkey Kong Country, Diddy's Conquest specifically was like the game that me and my older brother Elliot would play like almost every single day we got at home after school. That was like a huge one. We probably put like 70 hours in that game. Oh man, such a fun game. Anyway, so the musical composer of that game is David Wise, and he makes beautiful soundtracks, and I geek over them, and they just bring me so much emotion. And it's
If
like,
you've ever been in a Discord call with Ian and there's nothing going on, he'll just put 10
I
hours
will-
of Sticker Brush Symphony
Sticker Brush Symphony.
into the music bot and
And
in
just-
Discord server,
You could
and you're
vibe
just
to
sitting
it.
there vibing for 10 hours to
Yeah,
Sticker Brush
me
Symphony.
and Connor did that for I think 2 hours or something.
Or that underwater level theme.
Oh yeah, aquatic ambiance.
Yeah.
I literally know like almost every song from that game. It brings back so much nostalgia, and it's such a great feeling. And to hear him do that on set at Magfest was just enlightening. I was geeking. I probably almost cried like 4 or 5 times.
The look on Ian's face
Oh my god.
when because
Oh my
we had
God.
no idea he was showing
Yeah.
up. We literally had just gone to this,
Yeah.
this
I had no
concert,
idea who he was.
and we had
I-
no idea what was happening. And Ian, I think they said coming up next was the David Wise 5.
Yeah.
And Ian was like, wait a minute. And then they brought him out.
Uh-huh.
And the first song from Donkey Kong Country played, and Ian lost his shit.
Yeah. So the thing was, when they announced David Wise 5, I thought it was just like a band that got together and they like do his music.
A tribute.
A tribute. I thought it was like that. No, it wasn't. And I kept looking at Connor, and then he showed up on stage, and I'm like, holy shit, my mouth dropped, my eyes were wide as hell, pupils
Awooga,
dilated.
awooga.
You had the like
It was like
star-stuck
a
look at just
fucking
like,
wave right over me. I'm like, no way. And I was like, Connor, you don't know what this is. You don't know who he is. I have to tell you.
I have to enlighten you.
And that
It's Diddy
whole
Kong.
that whole set was so crazy. He started playing other music from the Rare games, but I was taking Snapchats of that, sending it to my brother. I'm like, dude, aquatic ambiance, Sticker Brush Symphony, like, it's crazy. And he's like, yo, that must be so nice. And like hearing that in concert was just like majestic. It was so unreal. It was by far my favorite moment of Magfest.
You can quite literally say you lived your childhood.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was like yeah.
it's awesome because Magfest does themes for a lot of their like events. So that year was like the jungle and everything.
Rumble in the Jungle or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next year is like Doom inspired, which, oh my god, if we can get Doom music playing at one of these events, I will lose my mind.
I'm going
'Cause-
to be seeing so much purple.
I love the entire event, and I'm super glad that I got to share the experience because it was my first time going to Magfest, and getting to share it with you guys was really something else. You guys made it a 10 times better event than it would have been if I just went with like random people.
We
And-
truly honestly started a tradition that year. Or
Oh
this-
yeah. And
it's gonna be an every year thing now.
For sure.
conventions are just a different style, and the community around it, the stuff that people are sharing, like you meet people there that like you talk to outside of conventions and stuff. At least like I do talk to people from other conventions still, and I know some of you guys still follow people that we met there and stuff.
I still talk to at least two of the guys fairly often.
Yeah.
Like I still talk to Ross and I only know him, but I forget his name. I think, but the guy who used to work at the hotel.
Yeah.
And there was always points during the event where we were walking around and we like stumbled upon a whole nother building where it's just, hey, this is a building for, tabletop games that we didn't expect.
The quest giver.
What I'm
We
getting
talked-
at is thank you guys for making my first Magfest such a great experience, and I'm looking forward to it in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the rest of them.
Oh yeah.
I can thank you
100%.
guys for doing the same for me. So
So I think that's going to wrap up the topics for this week.
a perfect
I-
heartfelt ending.
It really is, I think. The memories from that event is
It'll
still in my
stick with
mind.
us for a lifetime. Honestly, we made memories and bonds there that'll last a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Alright.
think without that we would be here now. So
Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm going to start closing out the episode. I want to thank everyone for listening in. And let's see what you guys want to plug. Let's start with you, Connor.
All right. You can follow me on Instagram at DaBoyGraham, da.boy.graham, if you want. I don't post often, but when I do, it's pretty good. My last post was Thirst Post parody. It's pretty good.
It was great.
I also stream live at Twitch at twitch.tv/madboystreams. That's MADBOY streams,
Yeah.
all one word. I hit affiliate so I can actually make cash off of it and, make an actual community. I have a really talented artist who just finished making me a bunch of emotes and everything. So that's all going live and everything. So hopefully see you there.
All right. And Brennan, anything you want to plug?
I plugged it last time. I'm still working on editing photos and everything.
Plug it again.
For me to post, but I have an Instagram for my photography that I'm getting more into. It's synthetic.lens on Instagram. I'm
By
posting
the way,
anything yet.
all of these are going to be in the description. Click down below, follow us, subscribe.
Love us, please. We love you.
That's pretty much all I got.
And Ian, got anything you want to plug?
I got Instagram. That's Ian's Culinary Life, all one word. No apostrophe or anything. That's basically what I do at my work for fun, anything involving cooking. And I actually started streaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working on that. I have a new graphics card coming actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But that's Papa Fig with 2 P's. Yeah, PPAFIG. Papa Fig.
Happy.
Follow me there.
I guess I'll plug my stuff. I have a YouTube channel that is The Rhino, and I'm going to be putting out video in a few days talking about music and sounds in video games. We actually recorded right before this. Thank you, Connor and Brennan. And I'm on Instagram at The Rhino 100, and just stop by, check stuff out. I post a lot of photography stuff, just like urban exploration.
And you stream too.
I do. I stream at The Rhino 100 on Twitch. I'm not as big as some other people here, but I'm getting close. I just hit the 50
Big.
follower mark. So, thank you all for tuning in to the Madhouse Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode this week, and hope you just like, comment, subscribe to it, share it with any friends that you think would be interested, and I hope you guys have a good one.
If you made it this far in the video, comment a kissing emoji in the comments, and I'll kiss you right back. Mwah.
All right. And that's all for us this week. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Peace out.